Okay, right at the onset, I would like to say that this is not a paid video. Nobody's paying me to make this video. I bought this from Costco on my own money. And all the pros and the cons that I put into this video are truly what I have experienced. Hello and welcome back to my channel. Well, it looks like cameras are now trying to replace phones. Yes, you heard me right. Since we've had the first smartphone, the iPhone, the phones have really dominated the camera market. But this guy is looking to rewrite that story. Yes, the Insta Luna is actually the first of its kind pocket gimbal. And for some reason, it also beat out the release of the DJI Pocket 4P. So I present to you the Insta360 Luna Ultra, the world's first dual lens pocket camera gimbal. So we have the 1x lens, which is 20 millimeters wide. The 1x on our phone is 24 millimeters wide. And this Insta Ultra pocket camera gimbal also has the 3x zoom lens, just like our phone. And real quick, a rundown of the specs. The 1x zoom lens on this actually has a 1-inch sensor with an aperture of f1.8. Literally translated, it means that most of the flagship phones that are sold here have a sensor of 1 by 1.3 inches. So this one is about 1.7 times larger than most of the camera phones sold here in the USA. Now, because this sensor is 68% or 1.7 times larger than the ones on our phone, literally translated, it means that it's going to do better in low light, going to have better dynamic range, and just overall capture more light photons. So what that also means is that you're going to have a better shallow depth of field, or as we call the bokeh, or a better background blur than the ones on your phone. Now, the zoom camera on this, which is the 3x zoom, actually has a sensor which is 1 by 1.3 inches. Yes, that is the sensor size of the main camera on most of the phones. And the 3x zoom camera on my phone, so that is actually 1 by 3.52. What does that mean? It literally means that the camera, the 3x zoom lens on this, is about 5.7 times, or roughly put, let's say about 6 times larger than the camera on my phone. Yep. So in real world, what that means is because the sensor on this is about 6 times larger than the sensor on my phone, it does translate into it collecting a lot more light photons, and of course leads to better low light footage and better dynamic range even with this sensor. Us zooming in to about 12x, and you're going to be able to see that same beat sign over there. Now, it does have a 3-chip processor. What that means is 2 of those chips are actually working in denoising the footage and making it as clean as possible, whilst one of those chips is actually doing the operations of the camera. Technically speaking, it is co-engineered with Leica lenses. This also shoots in 8K up to 30 frames a second. Now, what I did not understand was why would DJI Pocket 4 not have 8K on it? I just have no idea. And that 3x lens really does a good job because the zoom on this is lossless. And just having this detachable remote, you can operate this camera, like I said, from, well, it says 20 meters. I guess right now, let me show you. 20 So yeah, I mean, this detachable remote just is a game changer because you can be far away from your phone. You could literally, well, it says you could be 66 feet away from your phone at 20 meter and still control it. And just to give you guys an idea of how far I am right now, I have the 12x zoom on it. Yep. Talk into this, you would not need an external microphone. So just because I really wanted to test out the audio, I'm pretty far from the camera and I'm actually talking just into this detachable remote. And once again, because I think this is such a cool feature and I'm such a child and I love playing around with this, that, yep, once again, just to show you guys how this thing works, here we are. And it is still picking up the audio, and I can tell there's a green bar that shows you the signal on this. And yeah, it's pretty strong and solid. Okay, and now I'm going to test out the deep tracking on this. And as you can tell, it is following me around. Okay, usually the gimbals that I use, it does lose me if I'm kind of, right with the sun being right behind me. But here I am behind a tree, and let's see if it. Oh wow, this picked me up right away. And yep, still tracking because you can see a green box on this that shows you what it's tracking at this point. Whoa, let's see if it will track. Yep, it was able to pick me up, a little delayed, but I think this is pretty awesome. Wow. So the gesture control on this. Now, I was kind of used to just kind of doing this, and because of my phone or on my gimbal, that's how I would kind of get get the recording to start. But on this, I realized, and I almost thought that it wasn't working very well. But all you do really is just do this, and there, it is now on. It is recording me and also tracking me. I guess that camera is going to lose me now. We're going to have to pull out the footage from this one. And once again, if you want to stop that recording, all you do is, yeah, just make sure that the palm, when you're showing your palm, you have it on your side and not kind of in front of your face. It will not work. I have tried it and it will not work. Now, if you want to take a picture, and I think this is such a cool thing, all you do is do this. It actually took a picture right there. And switch the modes. You just remember these gestures and it'll do it for you automatically. I'm just checking out what the dynamic range is like. I've got the sun right behind me and it is as strong as it can get. And the one disadvantage that I honestly have with my gimbal, as I mentioned earlier, is that it will lose its tracking if I have the sun so far behind me. But yeah, let's check the dynamic range on this. And everything is in auto at this point, and I think it looks pretty good with the sun and the downtown St. Petersburg right behind me. And just in case you guys are wondering where this beautiful location is, it's a little secret place in St. Petersburg. All right, so we're gonna test out the slow motion on this and see how good or bad it really is. Like I mentioned, I'm actually controlling this entire camera, turning it off, changing the modes, everything from this nifty guy here. Let me see how the zoom works when you kind of want to flip it real quick. Okay, so we're on the 1x now and 2x, and that is the 3x. And remember, this is an optical zoom, not a digital zoom. And also, it changes the lenses automatically. So as soon as you go from the 2x, it's going to switch over automatically to the 3x. You don't need to like your phone, you don't need to make that change. So is this perfect camera? You know, is this the camera we all have been waiting for? Does it check a lot of the boxes? Well, in reality, it's a little more complicated. So I've mentioned a lot of the pros, with the deep tracking being absolutely amazing. Colors coming out of this are also absolutely amazing. But here's one of the problems, and this is a problem for me, it may not be one for you, is that this is about 6.7 inches long. And once you connect this extra thing with it, bring it to about, I'd say about 8 inches at this point. Oh wow, there's all kinds of mosquitoes here. Here's the problem, is this is fairly delicate. This is not like a regular gimbal, which can take about 300 or 400 grams. These motors are really, really delicate. And even the lenses, you know, on this, now I'm afraid, because I like carrying my camera, especially you know, when I'm out there vlogging or something, I like carrying my phone just in my pocket. Now, when this were to go in this way, it's pretty long, and it is going to take a lot of square footage in your pocket, which means, and also as I mentioned, it's pretty delicate. So, which means if you were to sit or something, you could very easily damage this particular camera. Just in pulling it out, pulling it in, you're gonna, and the screen on this is also fairly delicate. It's not like your phone, which once you put the cover on it, is gonna go, and you know, it's probably gonna survive a deep fall as well. So that is one of the cons. It's not pocket friendly. Well, talking about pockets, this is not very pocket friendly, even literally when I talk about how much this costs. This cost me about 700, I'd say a little over $800, including all the taxes. And if you were to buy the creator combo, I got mine at Costco. Now I don't know if you have a Costco in your country or not, but this could easily cost you over $1,000 US. It's like 960 or something like that. You add in the taxes, you're looking at over $1,000. Yep, $1,000 for a camera. Yeah, I mean, I get the 1x and the, you know, the 3x is a great piece of innovation. Realistically, guys, I can get $1,000 mirrorless camera. You know, I could get the Sony ZV-E10, or you know, any one of those cameras. I could get a really nice used mirrorless camera, you know, maybe an APS-C sensor or even a full frame. But what I mean is, I don't think I'm going to be able to take this with me everywhere without, you know, having the peace of mind that this is not going to get damaged. I'm talking about, you know, getting a protective cover for this. In a protective cover, even if I were to carry this little handle attachment separately, now you're looking at something that is solidly thick. I don't know how anybody would fit this in their pocket unless they were carrying some kind of a bag. So I don't know how the name came to be, the pocket gimbal camera. I don't think this would fit into anyone's pocket. So when I'm traveling, the last thing I want to do is worry about carrying a big camera, unless I'm going to shoot a film or do something specific where I need the bigger camera. I'm usually pretty happy getting my footage just off the phone, and if need be, I might carry an external mic or, you know, wireless USB-C mic and a couple of ND filters at the most, and that is a pretty minimal setup to get some great footage. Now, you could use a pocket gimbal, a foldable pocket gimbal with your phone. Those usually cost anywhere from $100 to $150 for the pocket gimbals, and then depending on what kind of phone you're going to use. And I find that to be a lot more pocket gimbal in the sense of that word than I would find this one. By the time you kind of end up carrying the microphone for this protective cover and everything, because there is no way you're going to be able to carry this without its protective cover. You drop this thing once, you're going to do serious damage to it. The other con for me, honestly, is the fact that it's not really waterproof. And when I read the manual, it said it's not waterproof, it's not water resistant, don't bring it close to the water. So even if it's drizzling out there, I don't know if this thing would survive that. I know for a fact that my phone would definitely survive that, and it has. Also, with the smallest action camera that I have an extra Ado and I have the DJI Osmo Nano. Those can go into the water up to, I think, like 33 feet, just with no casing on it. So if you think about it, with $1,000 for this, as opposed to say you already have a phone, to $100 on a pocket gimbal, a foldable pocket gimbal like the Insta or the Hohem V3 Ultra, any one of those, and you're not going to be that far out of your pocket. Like right now, I'm shooting this on one of the pocket gimbals, and it's tracking me pretty well. And to be honest, I'm not really impressed with the battery life on this, even though it just charged pretty quickly. The manual says that it should last you for about 2 hours in 4K 30. My experience has been, I'd say, 90 minutes or even less. And the charging is not like super fast. You're still looking at about 40 to 45 minutes of charging time. So that can put a serious dampener in your workflow if this is the only camera you have. And even though this is a serious piece of innovation, it really is. And the good part is that, yes, it does come with 47 gigabytes of memory, so you don't really need to carry a memory card. But I don't know, 47 gigabytes is going to be enough for me. So now I got to worry about, carrying a memory card separately. It always needs to be in this protective case if you're carrying this around, which means it's going to add an extra step. You might lose those few precious extra seconds. In terms of the weight, it's not really a light camera. It weighs, I think, about 235 grams, which is about the same as my phone. The problem is that it is really thick. Now, who is this gimbal camera, the Insta360 Luna Ultra for? I'm thinking this is going to be for travel vloggers, people who are mostly doing solo content shooting, people who need to do really good quality B-roll. But spending over $800 or over $1,000 for the creator combo, honestly, I just don't think I could recommend it at that price, especially with the Muse 2 Pro just being around the corner. And I've tried the extra Muse, the extra Ado, and those cameras are phenomenal. Why would I pay $800 when that one I think is going to be launched about $599? It's still going to be $200, $250 cheaper than this one. And the buttons on this, they're not as premium. They feel kind of plasticky. They feel like they might break real easy. The other problem, I mean, what if this camera breaks? So you're pretty much out of all your money. There's no way to fix just a part of it. Let's say your gimbal breaks, you're just out of $100. You can just replace that, right? If the battery on this starts to go bad, I don't know, other than replacing the whole system, what would you do? And yes, much as I'm impressed with this detachable remote, but my foldable gimbal also has that detachable screen. I can go frame a shot and actually film it from, I don't know, maybe 20, 30, 40 feet away. Much as I'm impressed with this camera, I don't think this is going to be my daily driver. It's just not as convenient or as sturdy as just my phone. And look, I understand everybody may have different needs. This camera may very well work for you. I'm just saying for me, because even though I like getting great footage, I don't want to compromise on the amount of stuff I have to carry. For $800 or $1,000, in my honest opinion, I think you'd be better served at that point just getting yourself a mirrorless camera with a nice gimbal that will kind of allow you to kind of do pretty much what this does, except get really, really good results. Well, for me, I have a YouTube channel, which reviews cameras. So this might stay with me. It might give me some good B-rolls when I'm shooting my next movie, stuff like that. But just for the regular person looking to get the most out of the camera and looking to get the most out of the money, yeah, I'd say give this one a miss. All right, guys, thank you so much for watching my channel. I really enjoy making these videos. Hopefully you enjoyed watching this one as well. I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye-bye.